this is Manindrabu from Batam. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
I'm Sela Sadakau from Vatukola. I only listen to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold Benaka, I'm Vale and I'm working at Golden Grove Resort and I love listening to Gold FM because it plays a really wide range of classic music.
I'm Saini Sakio from Kashmir Wotoka. I like Gold FM, but only the classic hits.
Good evening, I'm Amrita Priyadarshini and this is FBC News. Tonight, a man is dead, 3 others are hospitalized with severe injuries after a horrific accident in Nambua, Suva. National switch bill expected in Parliament this week. And missing persons reports worry police. One man is dead and 3 are hospitalized after a horrific accident in Nambua, Suva early this morning. A rental car veered off the road along the King's Highway, killing one of the passengers. Pranita Prakash reports.
It was just before 7 a.m. when this rental car plunged about 40 meters or 130 feet into a ravine near Muslim League in Nambua. One of the passengers died at the scene. Police believe some of the occupants were drunk at the time of the accident.
The accident happened at 6:45 because when our neighbor heard the loud bang, he yelled and I came outside to have a look, and then I called my husband who came out and the neighbor told him that the car had tumbled down from the top. My husband and the others went down to rescue the passengers. There were 5 people in the vehicle and the driver had fled the scene. When we went there was a lot of blood all over. We took water and washed their faces. They were drunk.
The deceased is a 21-year-old man of Kaningami Nasinu, while the others are in the intensive care unit at the CWM hospital. Bayazdin, who lives nearby, rushed to the scene after hearing a loud noise, tried to help the occupants of the vehicle.
The driver was not injured much, only his head. He had a dash on his head, and when I dragged him out, he just stood for a while and he started walking towards that side. So I thought that he's going to ask people for help, but in return he ran away, leaving the other 4 people injured. So by that time most of the people came and they started dragging them out, and then one of our neighbors called the police and they came and then they were taken down to the hospital.
The mangled wreck of the rental car is evidence of the ferocity of the impact. Broken car parts are also littered near the scene. FBC News understands the driver of the vehicle left the area soon after being rescued. An investigation is now underway. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
Following the signing of the Paris Agreement in New York, Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama has called on all United Nations members to ratify the climate change deal. The signing has been deemed a success by most, but Bainimarama says countries need to further lower the proposal to cap global warming by 2 degrees Celsius. Alan Stoltz has more.
Scientists tell us that capping global warming at 2 degrees above industrial levels will not save us.
Using tropical cyclone Winston as his reference point, Bainimarama urged UN members to seriously consider their position on climate change, especially industrialized nations which contribute to global warming. He also pleaded for their help and support on behalf of Fiji and other vulnerable nations in the Pacific.
The Fijian people know more this agreement, but to go beyond it for our children's sakes
and the pressing need to build climate resilience in Fiji and other Pacific small island developing states has been the focus of talks between Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama and the Commonwealth Secretary-General Baroness Patricia Scotland. The Secretary-General assured the Prime Minister that under her leadership, the Commonwealth would continue to focus on the development interest of all its small and vulnerable members. The Biosecurity Authority of Fiji has intercepted 28 adult giant African snails and about 500 eggs on board the MV Coral Islander. The vessel was transiting through the King's Wharf, Suva, bound for Tarawa in Kiribati 2 days ago. BAF says this interception is the largest in the history of quarantine and biosecurity operation in Fiji. Some of the snail eggs were ready to hatch. The authority also says the giant African snail is one of the largest and most damaging land snail pests, classified as one of the world's top 100 invasive species. All cargo offloaded from the MV Coral Islander will be fumigated, while the vessel itself will also be treated. The Fiji Interchange Network Payments Bill 2016, which brings into being the national switch, will help to reduce costs for Fijians. The bill, which is expected to be debated in Parliament this week, aims to regulate fees for electronic transactions such as ATM withdrawals. Alan Stoltz has more.
Chair of the Standing Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights, Ashnil Sudhakar, says the bill could lessen the financial burden on all Fijians. He says the law could also help families who qualify for the Social Welfare Assistance Scheme to have easier access to their allowance.
They have to go to their respective post office in the islands, and they have to go to a respective shop and withdraw the money from there and to show the ID and all. Now, with the national switch, it'll be easier to reach those people. We just deposit the money in their banks and they can just go to the ATM and withdraw whatever money they need.
The bill also allows the government to set up an infrastructure which streamlines and improves all e-commerce, including international transfers. One, if not the simplest, examples of the bill is the possibility of no additional costs for using ATMs across different banks. The committee, he says, have held consultations with the banks here in Fiji about the pros and cons of setting up such a system in Fiji.
And of course, the bigger banks have a legitimate concern. They have invested substantially in their infrastructure and ATMs. It's about $100,000 to set up one ATM, and they need about 2,000-3,000 transactions per month to make it viable, maintain it here. And they do have concerns, but then it's something that we have to balance out with the national interest. And every Fijian should be able to access ATMs.
Parliament convenes tomorrow, and Sudhakar says the Fijian government wants this modern law to be implemented to help all Fijians. Ellen Stalls, FBC News.
Still to come on FBC News, our Successful Fijians segment tells the story of how the Yasawa Sevens team defied the odds to make the final of...
I'm Sarah, I'm from Tafwa, and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
My name is Freddy, I'm from Ganiatong. I listen to Mario on the traffic jam every afternoon.
Hi, my name is Salah, I live in Asinu. Today FM rocks.
My name is Denasa and I'm from Lotoka and I love listening to Today FM.
My name is Hulamila, I work at Golden Point Resort. I love listening to Today FM, it rocks in Raki Raki.
I'm Mary from Mandera. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
We love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music.
Welcome back. You're with FBC News. 73 people have been reported missing between January to the 19th of this month. Police have confirmed that the majority of missing persons are between the ages of 17 and 26. Police Chief of Operations ACP Rusiate Tundravu says reports of missing persons are recorded within every 24 hours, and this is a growing concern. Tundravu says they have discovered that most cases those reported missing have either ended up staying at a friend's or relatives without informing their parents or have eloped.
There's a lot of resources. There's a lot of times that are being spent on these minor issues of just when we normally don't advise our family that we are going out somewhere else, and the family members, they reported, and it takes us time for us to deploy our police officers in checking locations. But definitely there's an increase on a daily basis report in regards to missing persons.
According to the Fiji Police Force statistics, 53 missing persons were females while 20 were males. If you were a child of the 90s growing up in Fiji, then you'd know the world-famous kids show Sesame Street. Every weekday, children all over the country would switch on their television sets to watch their favorite Muppets teach them something new. Children in the West affected by TC Winston were paid a special visit by some famous Muppets, Elmo and Grover.
From appearing on TV to the shores of Fiji, the Sesame Street Muppets have arrived. Elmo and Grover are meeting children in Ra who have been severely affected by Tropical Cyclone Winston.
The children have been through a lot. Some of them have lost their homes. They come to school and their school is damaged, and the teachers are telling us that the children have been very affected. Sometimes they'll be sitting in class, they're physically there, but, you know, mentally they are somewhere else, and they've been very, very quiet. So the feedback yesterday from the teachers was that this is the first time they've seen some of these kids laughing and talking and interacting.
Corrine Ambler says puppets have the ability to teach key messages more so than adults. They are also a wonderful visual aid for children, retaining their attention and encouraging them to participate in class.
So Elmo and Grover have been telling the children some messaging to keep themselves safe and healthy. Things like, you know, if the wind and the rain comes again, don't run across the road or across the river home. Just stay where you are, stay with your teacher. Teacher knows what to do. Things like not to swim in flood water because, you know, it's dirty and it could make you sick. And if you're feeling sad, to do things that make you happy.
Chris Lynch, who is the voice behind Elmo and Grover, is a journalist and radio host in New Zealand and was brought in to assist the Fiji Red Cross with their continuous aid work around the country. He will be training more Fiji Red Cross volunteers in the art of puppetry.
Success comes from commitment, hard work and dedication. Our successful Fijian segment tonight isn't about an individual, it's about a team that overcame debilitating circumstances to feature in the final of the Mara Sevens tournament yesterday. Giant killers New Net Yasawa Sevens didn't let TC Winston get in the way of the team making it to the Mara Sevens. Ali Kimbia has the details.
Successful Fijians is brought to you by the Fiji Development Bank, your partner in progress.
Yasawa is in the final of the 40th Fiji bid of
Some might say that climbing through the ranks to be one of the top sevens team in Fiji is a huge ask. But for the New Net Sevens team from the island of Yasawa, anything is possible and the journey to success begins with a single step.
Back in 2014, around February, is when we had organized the sevens tournament in Nadula in Yasawa. And the idea was to identify talents, rugby talents from the boys in the islands. And we had a good opportunity that Ben Ryan availed himself to be the chief guest at our sevens tournament. And we were going to use him to at least identify one or two of the boys on the or from the South group of islands. So after the 2 days tournament, he named or selected 15 boys and asked us to develop these guys.
After 2 years of playing together, the team managed to cause some great upsets in local sevens tournament around the country.
In 2014, they won a couple of tournaments. Vesana Sevens in Lotoka, Nakorotumbu Sevens in Ba, Nauluwai Sevens in Naitasiri. They were in the finalists at the Yamadia Sevens up in Kiasi, and they were in the semi-finals with the Fiji team in Levuka.
After having done a lot of hard work and sacrifice, the team were bound to take part in this year's Fiji Beta Mari Sevens tournament. However, leading up to the tournament, the team suffered a huge setback as many of the players' families were badly affected by Tropical Cyclone Winston. This did not deter the players as they trained hard, knowing that a win will put smiles on the faces of the family members back in Yasawa.
Absolutely. Most of the players, or probably 50% of the players, are from the southern ends of southern islands of Yasawa, where Cyclone Winston did more damage than the northern islands. So yes, it was also a driving factor to the players, you know, to win something and to do something more than Winston, you know. we can be stronger than Winston.
Playing in their first ever Murray Sevens final against Tambandamu last night, the mighty Warriors from Yasawa lived up to expectations despite falling to a more experienced Tambandamu side. For the players, this is not a loss, but the beginning of something special.
We don't want them to earn themselves contract, which is only a short term. This is their bread and butter, and we've always been emphasizing to them that they need to discipline their life, and because this is their life, this is their bread and butter. So they need to. So the idea of using a holistic approach is to cause them to have a long-term career in their life, especially in rugby.
With the experience gained from this year's Murray Sevens, the team now looks forward to continue rub shoulders with other Big Sevens team locally and hopefully get a chance to play in one of the club sevens internationally. Ali Kabia, FBC News.
Successful Fijians was brought to you by the Fiji Development Bank, your partner in progress.
Coming up in sports, Tambandamu retains Mara's 7th title. An Oceania volleyball meet launched in Suva. This and more coming up.
Adango Katonesia Tugotua, Omonia Saurara, although we will take you on a TV and a market Tawa. Although Talitagana, Warrona, Bula FM, and Nambandu and Shell.
Pulamana Viti, Nadango Palacio Materia, one may Nanan Bula Tabiuni, Ausatuga Nandi, and the Talita na Warrongo and a Bula FM.
Bula FM, number 2 and Seri.
Leading FPC Sports tonight, Tambandamu Red retained the Fiji Bidder Mara's 7th title after defeating New Net Yasawa 24-12 in the Cup final last night. Both teams put up a thrilling display of entertaining rugby for a fitting climax to the 2-day competition at ANZ Stadium. Chalindao Zakavaka reports.
Tambandamu were all smiles as they received their spoils for the cup final win over a brave Yasawa side. This despite having to mount a comeback after Yasawa took an early 12-0 lead in the opening 3 minutes.
By Nadani, Batina takes it up, Batina puts it to the boot, it's a foot race, and Batina going forward, he needs to control this, he nudges it forward, Batina will go in, wonderful, brilliant piece of work.
Tambandamu replied with a try each to Apenisa Kaumbalavu and Ali Pataratini to level the scores at half-time.
To score the try behind the sticks, and he brings Tambandamu back into this. Away to Ratini. Ratini looks to go to the corner, and Ratini will finish it off in the corner. Wonderful work by Tambandamu.
It's all of good of the team in Fiji. So it's a tough game for us in the final. But this team is the first year for them to reach the final. They play well, and thanks to the boys for giving us the power, and the family for the supporters, so that we can win this tournament.
Yasawa tried hard, but the experience in the Tambandamu side shone through, with former national rep Siti Beniwanga, Nasoni Rocco, David Mbatiratu and Leo Nekasau leading by example.
The Kaunivalu will go in to score in between the sticks.
We were at peace all along. This player scored 8 tries in the 2 days of the 40th Fiji Bidder Mara Sevens. We knew we were going to.
Army Green, Police Blues, Striders, Red Rock, Water Authority of Fiji and Suva Stallions ended their campaigns with a win, but Tambandamu stood tallest among them all to round off another successful Fiji Bidder Mara Sevens tournament. Talento Takavaka, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Under-20 side was hammered by Samoa 32-8 in the World Rugby Under-20 trophy in Zimbabwe yesterday. Winger Saletsi Tino and the lost see Fiji slip to 3rd spot in Pool A behind Samoa and Uruguay respectively, making their chances even more slim of progressing to the top-tier World Rugby Under-20 Championship next year. Fiji's next match is against host Zimbabwe at 8 p.m. next Wednesday. Minister for Youth and Sports Lesenia Tuitumbo launched the 2016 Oceania Volleyball Championship, which will be held in Suva next month. The launch coincided with the naming of 30 players, each in the national men's and women's squads, and Tuitumbo wished them well in their preparation.
I urge you to value all the support and that has been rendered to you, and in the spirit of good sportsmanship, do Fiji proud in this coming regional meet.
The Oceania Volleyball Championship will be held at the Vodafone Arena from the 2nd to the 7th of next month. The Draketi football side recorded mixed results in the Vodafone Premier League this weekend. After recording its first win of the season by beating Nandrunga 1-0 yesterday, Draketi lost to Lautoka by 3-0 this afternoon at Prince Charles Park. In the other match held today, Bar defeated the Under-20 Regional Academy side by 3-1. And meanwhile, in the Vodafone Senior League, Tailevu Neitasiri beat Northland Tailevu 4-0, while Lami and Navua played to a 2-2 draw. The Vodafone Youth League Southern Western Zone got underway yesterday at the Fiji Football Academy in Suva. 6 teams are competing in the league, including the Fiji Under-17 side, which is using the experience to prepare for the Oceania Under-17 Championship in Tonga early next year.
For the team that I'm coaching now, they have been in camp for 3 months, and this is their first game that they will be playing with a team from outside. And it will give a chance to the coaching panel to see the performance of the players and also evaluate as to what we have taught them, whether they are able to do it in the game or not.
In round 1 results, the Shadow Fiji Under-20 side playing as the Regional Academy team beat Navua Youth 2-1. Suva Youth beat Tailevu Neitasiri Youth 6-3. And Nasino Youth beat Northland Tailevu 2-1. Fiji-born centre Setareki Tamanivalu scored 2 tries to help the Chiefs beat the Hurricanes 28-27 last night in Super Rugby. The win ensures the Waikato-based side remain at the top of the New Zealand and Australasian Conference after round 9. Chalendau Zakazaka reports.
As Mackenzie is the first receiver,
There was speculation regarding Setareki Tamanivalu's first try against the Sharks, which was eventually awarded by the television match official.
And he has.
So there's no clear and obvious separation,
Right.
if we can award the try.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
But there were no questions about his second 5-pointer following a break made from inside the Chiefs' 22-meter line.
up and see who can make these tackles. Tamani Valu goes wide to Pulu. Pulu on Savia. And Pulu. Oh, that's fantastic.
The Hurricanes could have stolen the match in the dying stages after a spirited comeback, if not for this knock-on by fullback Jason Woodward.
That's going to be it.
In other results, the Sunwolves earned their first victory, while the Waratahs, Stormers and Lions scored 40-point-plus victories. Chalendau Zakazaka, FBC Sports.
Fine weather conditions were experienced over the country today. Severe tropical cyclone Amos Category 3 was located about 220 kilometers east of American Samoa at midday today. It is moving east-southeast at about 27 kilometers an hour away from American Samoa. Well, a sunny day over the group saw fairly even temperatures in the low 30s in all centers. Tomorrow's forecast is for fine conditions apart from possible afternoon showers in Suva and Savu-Savu. As for the further outlook, fine apart from brief showers about the interior and eastern parts of the larger island. Southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. Recapping the headlines, a 21-year-old man is dead and 3 are badly hurt after a horrific accident in Suva this morning, which saw a rental car plunge 40 meters. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama calls on industrialized nations to ratify the Paris Agreement and commit to reduction in carbon emissions. And 28 giant African snails intercepted at the Suva Wharf by local authorities. Now for these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. On to the poll question for this week. And this week we are asking, should Kitione Talinga be included in the 7th team for the Olympics? To answer, you can visit our FBC website. You've been watching FBC News. Good night.
मैं हूं रेहान खान गुरबो तालेबू के
जैसे फेस्टिवल एग्रेट है करवो में, उसी तरह मिर्ची FM नंबर 1 है करवो में।
एलिन लटका में मिर्ची FM को लॉक कर दिया जाए। मिर्ची FM इट्स हॉट।
हम नकाशी से साइमान है, हमारा फेस्टिवल जैसे नंबर 1 है वैसे मिर्ची FM नंबर 1 है।
माय नेम इज दिनेश, हम नैनी में काम करता है स्लीपिंग जायंट जिपलाइन में, और मिर्ची FM इज हॉट, आई लाइक इट।
मिर्ची FM इट्स हॉट।